brutal and pitiless combat of major states for resources and territories. This war had no sense. This war had no mercy. This war was hell that came to earth. An unseen, slaughtering, terrible hell. It was spring of 1915, Baltic Sea. German territorial waters in Königsberg area. Russian ship Siberian Ranger was placing mines into the cold, grey Baltic waters. Doesn't work.
Oh, what, did you turn it on?
Yes. It used to work. Great. Two strong panting sailors were pushing off board another huge half-a-ton naval mine under the command of a midshipman when Timirov, the first captain's assistant, approached them. So, he asked the midshipman, "Sir, everything is going well. My distance to surface is 7 meters, just as captain ordered," was the answer. "Only it's foggy and we haven't seen signals from Sentry and Hunter for quite a while." Those were two other Russian ships performing the same task. Timirov frowned and went to report to the captain. He found Captain Kolchak in his cabin, studying maps. The two officers talked for a while and showed each other presents they got from wives, which reminded them about the faraway home. Suddenly an officer rushed in and asked them to quickly come to the bridge. When Captain Kolchak came, there were several officers on the bridge already, agitated and nervous, looking into distance. The alarm bell was already ringing on deck. One of the officers handed Kolchak the binoculars. The captain looked and saw a huge German armored cruiser, less than 2 miles away. It was several times bigger and heavier armed than Siberian Ranger. It was quickly approaching. Kolchak could even see tiny sailors running here and there on the German's deck. "We missed them," said he, looking at the enemy's huge 210mm guns, slowly turning in their direction. In a second, the guns roared and furiously spit out a huge cloud of smoke and fire. 2 shells hit the water right in front of the place where the Russian officers were standing. Wet to the skin, the captain commanded to man the battle stations and rush to the wheelhouse. There he commanded full speed ahead. The ship flinched and started to gain speed, running away from the German, who was shooting and quickly approaching. There was already fire on deck, which the sailors were trying to put out. Siberian Ranger's guns started to shoot back, but most of them were too small. The ship had in fact only one big 100mm gun that could compete with Friedrich Karl's armament. Suddenly Siberian Ranger started to slow down for some unknown reason. "Engine shop, why did you slow down? Engine shop, why are you silent?" shouted Timirov into the communication tube. Kolchak went to the deck. There a sailor from the engine shop ran up to him. The sailor's skin was badly burned, but he seemed to pay no attention to pain. "Sir," he reported, "a shell. Pipes in the engine shop are damaged." "How much time for repairs?" asked the captain. "No less than half an hour." 15 minutes, ordered Kolchak, and the sailor ran back to his post. "Alexander Vasilievich, in 15 minutes they will have turned us into a sieve," remarked Timirov. "Yes, we're a sitting duck." The captain took his binoculars. Why was he so calm? Friedrich Karl was really close and fiercely firing. In a minute, the bad situation became even worse. A German shell hit the shield of the main Russian gun, disabling it. Wondering why they stopped shooting, Kolchak went to see what happened when another shell exploded only several meters from him. Stunned, the captain fell on the deck. Everything swam before his eyes. Noise filled his ears, and, as if in slow motion, he saw the worried Timirov, who leaned over him and was calling his name in some altered, low voice. With his assistant's help, Kolchak stood up and asked him to take command of the ship. After that, he looked up at the manless main gun and silently started to climb the ladder. When the captain climbed up on the gun platform, he saw 3 sailors lying motionless. One of them was still alive. "Gurov, are you alive?" shouted Kolchak. "To your post!" "I said to your post!" The shell-shocked sailor uttered a moan and started to move. The situation was critical, if not hopeless. Siberian Ranger could not move. It was on fire. Many sailors were dead or wounded. The enemy was coming closer and shooting from all guns like a bloodthirsty lion chasing a wounded gazelle, and already feeling the savor of her hot meat on his fangs. The captain's shot was the only chance for all of them. Kolchak slowly and accurately took the aim. Gurov had already charged the gun and was holding the firing cord waiting for order. "Fire!" said Kolchak and plugged his ears. The gun shot. Timirov was on deck looking at Friedrich Karl into binoculars. He saw their breach explode. The Germans started to lose speed. Now the enemy has other things to do. The captain's shot was an incredible luck and success. It saved them from imminent death. Yet, it only bought them some time, until Friedrich Karl activates a reserve breach. So what to do next? Their own minefield was ahead of the Russian ship, and Friedrich Karl was blocking the way home. Kolchak assembled all officers for a briefing and informed them about his decision. "We will lure the German onto the mines," said he. "Siberian Rangers' immersion is 4 meters. The mines' immersion is 7. We pass just fine." "Sorry, sir, there is a problem," said the midshipman. "The mines' immersion is 5 meters, not 7. I'm sorry, I made a mistake." Everyone stood stunned and silent. Timirov approached Kolchak and whispered in his ear, "Sir, we will not pass 1 meter from the mines." "We just dug our own grave," said someone. "Stop the hysterics, Lieutenant," dropped the captain. He turned and for several seconds looked at the cold and indifferent Baltic waters. "We are going onto the mines," said he. "Pray to God." All the crew was knelt on starboard deck. Kolchak was knelt ahead of everyone, holding the Bible in his hand and reading the prayer aloud, while Siberian Ranger was crossing the minefield. Again the enemy, who had so quickly recovered, was chasing them, fiercely firing. Again shells were exploding so near. Again death, in the freezing, frightening grey depth, was so close. Timirov was attentively watching the water on the ship's course. "Mine! Mine is ahead!" shouted he. "Stop the engine," commanded Kolchak. Everyone ran up to watch. A mine, whose chain had obviously been torn by a German shell, had come to the surface. They were already on the very edge of the minefield, but the last mine blocked their way. Siberian Ranger stopped completely and slowly started to reverse. The mine was only a meter from its board now, yet the Russian ship managed to carefully pass it. Kolchak sighed with relief and looked back to see where Friedrich Karl is. How close she was now! The German ship had just come into the direct laying range, where one volley was enough to completely destroy Siberian Ranger. Kolchak was looking straight at the enemy's main 210mm gun. In a second, it will shoot, and its firing barrel will be the last thing he will see in his life. "Goodbye, fellows," muttered the sailor. "Now she will finish us." And there came an explosion. However, the one bringing salvation instead of death. A huge blast coming from somewhere underwater hit the German's port side. Then another one followed, from inside the ship, probably the arsenal that detonated. Friedrich Karl was literally torn into 2 pieces. Russian sailors and officers were crying with joy, jumping and embracing each other. And while the cold Baltic waters were consuming the burning remnants of Friedrich Karl, Captain Kolchak and his crew steered the course for home.